Kyle in San Antonio, Texas. Yeehaw, Kyle, what's up?
Hey, Dr. D, how's it going, man? Good to talk to you.
Outstanding. Good to talk to you too, man. What's up?
So, calling about a relationship with my two older sisters that has gone stale and just been scarred up pretty bad from when my father passed away, and just trying to find some help in how we can reconcile that, what I can do to get back to where we were before then, or just something going forward that could be a little better.
Man, I hate that for you. When's your dad pass away?
That was in 2018, so September 2018. So it's been enough time now where I'm kind of the person that says time heals all wounds, but there's still some scars there that we're trying to recover from. I know me individually, and I know we all have our own, so I'm trying to, I guess, give them some grace and understand that it may be different for everyone, but just hasn't been where it used to be. I just look for some help in that area.
Yeah, so tell me what happened. Start with your dad. Was it a sudden passing?
So yes, my dad was 67. It was a sudden passing, and he was in a different state. So it was literally, I remember walking my young daughters around the neighborhood and then getting home to a text of, "Hey, have you heard it from Dad?" And hadn't. And
man, I'm so sorry.
And then all kind of happened really fast. And so we go out there and resolve, all that. And really the issue, I guess, the thing with my sisters came down to the kind of the estate, the fact that I was appointed as the executor was was this, I guess, not really a surprise, because all three of us, we had this amazing relationship before, just amazing sibling relationship to the point where I heard about other siblings having difficulties, and I'm like, how could that be possible? We have this amazing relationship. I couldn't imagine not having a great relationship with my sisters.
Yeah.
And there's also kind of a curveball in here with my mom, who separated my dad about 15 years before then, but never actually divorced. So we were trying to manage relationships with each one of them individually, and I would say we all had a better relationship with my dad. We all that was our home that we grew up in. And my dad and my mom, we kind of observed them go through that kind of rocky marriage, and kind of a marriage that I think we all agree that we did not want to have in our lives.
But she still has a claim to some of that estate, huh?
So yes,
Okay.
Just trying to manage the whole death was already so much, and then there was just this legal side of everything that was overwhelming. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. I remember I'm 27, 28 years old, and I'm just having kids. I'm asking my dad if he has a will, and he had just made his will I think a year before passing, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of one of those back of the napkin wills, and again, I think he could have appointed anyone. He chose me. I don't think there was any reason between his three kids. I happen to be the youngest, but I don't know. So
my guess, Kyle, honestly, and that's noble of you to try to pass that off like he just picked a random person. But my guess is he picked you intentionally. Whether he thought you were the most mature, he might have just picked you because you were the male, and that sounds like a very Texan thing to do. And he might have done it trying to protect your sisters and their pretty little heads from having to worry about anything, and however misguided that might have been, right? So it may have been noble. It may have been any number of reasons why, but just to think he just randomly picked you is dismissive of you, right? So own it. He picked you. So walk me through what's happened with your sisters. Why are they frustrated with you? Why is your relationship fractured since he passed?
So the whole the estate was not anything special. It was, just, I would say, a pretty normal middle class situation. And then, but the weird thing with my mom is there was one thing that my mom presented to me. It was signed by my dad that said, hey, because they had split the title of the house or whatnot, it said, hey, you agreed to have me be the selling agent on the house. My mom just, I guess, wanted to have that. Sure, there's some money in there. I don't know. It was their agreement, and he had signed it. They had both signed it. So once he presented that to me, I felt obligated to honor that, just like the few other things that he signed that, to me, it's kind of a cut and dry, that's not an issue. So
right.
So I had to tell my sisters that, hey, mom's going to sell the house. And there's just so much bad blood there that they're like, how dare you? How could you not honor his spirit? How could you let that happen? He would never let her step foot in that house, blah, blah, blah. And so I was really kind of desperate and torn because I understand where they're coming from, but I also kind of understand in my heart, like I felt that he was the kind of guy that knew what he was doing when he signed that. And so just breaking the news to them, there was just so many words that were said that I can never forget, along the lines of never going to talk to you ever again. We're going to get our own lawyer and sue you. You're just disgracing his spirit and you're taking sides and just this is it just caught me so much off guard where I was just like, hey guys, he signed this thing. You have to understand where I'm coming from. And I was kind of just desperate for them to understand this is so hard already. Like, let's not make this harder. So but there was just a lot of bad words exchanged, and so now I'm trying to. Now we've kind of moved on. We live in separate cities, but we just don't have a relationship anywhere where it was before, and so I'm trying to understand: is it me? Do I need to reach out to them? It's just not where it is.
So here's a couple of things to think through here. Okay, number one, think of grief like a, those big giant rubber bouncy balls that you can just smash on the ground and they'll just fly around everywhere, ping-ponging off of everything. Think of grief that way, and you have 3 siblings. All of you opened up a pantry door and just smashed that ball in there, and it would bounce in different trajectories for everybody. And so if your sisters said some things that were really hurtful, if they were really frustrating, if they were really just cut you in your soul after the sudden passing of your dad, I'm going to tell you 100% those things hurt. They are like knives in your soul, especially when you're trying to grieve and do the right thing. But I want you to forgive them and set that stuff down. They were hurting in a way that they probably had no way to comprehend or wrap their head around it. Their disdain for your mom who bailed on their dad, those things get magnified when somebody suddenly passes. Then we start looking for faults and blame and who hurt who and all that kind of stuff. And when someone just drops dead of a heart attack, it's hard because there's not much to blame there, right? So then a shadowy figure emerges whose mom, who was mean to our dad, and then it just gets messy from there. At the end of the day, those things hurt, but the more you carry them around, they're not hurting your sisters anymore, they're just hurting you. And so I would set them down. And if you haven't, my hope is you have spent some time alone, not in the math problem of dealing with an estate, but in the grief part of losing your old man. I hope you've spent some time actually grieving that, because that sucks. That really
sucks. I think I have not.
Yeah.
And I've talked about it with my wife, and I think it's just distracted by other things. And I've tried to seek out help here and there. Definitely not enough, but I'm sitting here like talking to my wife and trying to be honest with myself, and I just don't feel like I've faced that yet. But I also feel like it's because I have other scars that I'm trying to dealing with that either distract me. I don't know if I want it to or not, but yeah, I'm.
So you're gonna
not disagreeing with you.
You're gonna. I think it starts tonight or tomorrow when you're in a space, and you might need to tell your wife, "Hey, I need you to take the kids tonight, and I want you to." Best you can, write your dad a long, long letter about the things you remember about him, the things you loved about him. The dude, I wish you hadn't written your will on a napkin. Be mad at him. Be frustrated about his marriage, and let him know, why didn't you just divorce mom? That would have made this a lot easier. And then I want you to spend some time writing about the man you are, the dad you're going to be. The dad you are, the husband you are, and let him know who you're becoming. Okay? And I want you to be honest in this letter and be open in this letter. And if you say ugly, mean things and things spew out of you that you didn't know were there, that's okay. That's not a black mark on his memory. That's honoring him with your authenticity. And if you remember things that bring you joy and make you laugh, cry, that's awesome too. and then giving yourself a place that you're going to head to next. Where are you living? What's the legacy that your old man is passing through you that you'll pass on to your kids? It's important to write that stuff down. And this won't be a one-time thing, right? This won't be we're all good now, right?
Right.
You may want to get some guys together from your local community, from your local church, and talk about dads. Do something like that. Be the guy that goes first. Be vulnerable, right? A second thing here is reaching out to your sisters. At some point, you're going to have to, if you want to preserve a relationship, which is what it sounds like you want to, it's letting them know that you love them, you're here, and they may never come around and say they were sorry. They may hold what happened forever. That's theirs to hold, not yours, right? And maybe it's time that you send them a handwritten letter to their home and say, I miss my sisters. And say, Dad's sudden death caught us all off guard. His arrangements with Mom were weird and were not in the best interest of those who were his survivors, right? Weren't in the best interest of his kids, but they were what they were. I love you guys, and I'm ready to have what we had. And all you can do at this point, Kyle, is go first, is to risk, to be put the relationship out there, and they may reject you, brother. They may say, screw you, we're still not over it. I don't think they will. I think you're a guy with a solid heart, and you're a great human being, and so I don't think they're going to, but they might. And that's what this whole thing is about risk, right? Is like leaning forward and heading into that. Here's a couple of things. Number one, if you're listening to this, don't do a will on a napkin. If you are separated from somebody and it's not coming back, go through the legal processes. And if you are not living with somebody for 15 years, make it official and go and get your divorce, get the stuff legally separated so your poor kids don't lose their relationships dealing with your mess. It's childish and it's ridiculous. It's just dumb, okay? You can make a will. We have a will here through with relationship with Mama Bear Wills. It's an inexpensive online will here through Ramsey Solutions. You can go to daveramsey.com and we can check in the show notes here with Mama Bear. Get a will, for crying out loud. Give that to your kids for Christmas. Say, hey, kids, I'm not going to leave you high and dry. If you have to have a hard conversation, like Kyle's going to have with his sisters, here's a couple of things just to think through. First, plan your conversation. Don't just show up. Don't just drop it like a grenade. Know what you want to say and where you want to get and work backwards from there, right? If you show up and you're emotionally charged and you're going to have a hard conversation, it gets explosive. And if you have hard conversations and they start with, well, then somebody's instantly going to get defensive and now we're off to the races. So acknowledge things are going to be uncomfortable. If you have the opportunity, set up a time and a place. Let people know these things are coming. Let them know that, hey, we need to have a hard conversation about Dad. We need to have a hard conversation about our relationship. And this is for marriages. This is for kids. This is for anybody, right? This isn't just for Kyle and his sisters. But plan your conversation. The second thing is get in touch with your motives and your goals for this hard conversation. Kyle said it best. He wants his sisters back. He had that relationship with them that other people envied, that other people wished they had with their families, and then poof, it was gone. And it's gone, and I don't want to talk bad about your parents, but it's bad. It's went sideways because of poor planning, of people not taking care of their business and leaving their children to deal with things. And so before you have the talk, get in touch with your motives. Some of you may want to have a hard conversation to say, our relationship has to change now. Some of you have to have hard conversations about, you can no longer talk to our daughter like you do. It's over now. But get in touch with yourself. Before you talk to your family, I want you to spend time getting in touch with your motives. Why are you having the conversation? What are the goals for this conversation? Where are we going to end up here? And then the third thing is creating a safe space for this dialogue, right? I've gotten some feedback on social media. Folks don't like that I recommend people have hard conversations in restaurants. They think that's a coward's way to do it, that people can't get emotional in a restaurant. I like the neutral third party of it all. That's just me. But also, I'm not prone to getting off the rails emotionally, and some people do. And that's okay. Wherever it is, create a safe space for that dialogue, right? Get into a mindset that it's not about you versus them. It's about us coming together. It's about us joining forces to move forward with whatever this is going to look like, whatever this is, right? Make it clear you care about other people's feelings, their motives, their needs. When people feel, quote unquote, safe in your presence, you give them permission to actually speak, to actually be heard, right? Stop. Don't put this off. Get it done, right? Get it done. Have the conversation. Just got this notice. If you want to go through the will, text WILL to 33789. WILL to 33789. Get the guide, right, on how to do a will preparation checklist. It's ridiculous to not do it, okay? But this isn't a will pitch. This isn't what this is for. I want you guys to know how to have hard conversations. Go have them and get them done. And here's the other thing. We're not coming off of nothing. We are flat in the middle of a messy political season, of a messy pandemic, of a messy education mess, economic mess. This is the season of hard conversations. Plan them. Know why. What are your goals for these conversations? What are your motives? If your motives are just to hurt people, then shut your mouth. Just shut up. We have enough of that. If your motive is unity and safety and coming together, and even if other people have to change, incredible, awesome. And then number 3, create a safe space for the dialogue. Kyle, thank you so much for the call, brother. Mourn your dad, and then reach out to those sisters in a written letter so they can hold it and look at it and say, I want you guys back. I miss my sisters. It's awesome. Thank you so much for the call.